today's video is all about split ends. We all know split ends mean damaged hair, but what are they and how we can treat them? I am explaining all this in this video. Hey guys, I'm Sanjana from Pretty Curl. I'm here to help you understand your hair, skin, makeup and fashion and really help you to understand what product work for you. So if this sounds good, then give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's begin. So what are split ends? When your hair ends are very dry and brittle, causing the hair fiber to split and fray, it will look like V or Y, and it can be of various types like baby, taper, tree, Y. There can be a lot of signs that you are having split ends. There can be signs that you are having split ends like gaps in the hair, like hair thinning at your end. Your hair ends feel very brittle, dry and frizzy. White dots at the end of your hair. Your split ends have split ends. There are several reasons for split ends. Number one point is hair brushing roughly. When you brush your hair when it's dry, especially for curly hair, and you are brushing it vigorously, that creates a friction and a tension at the end of your hair, and it causes the snapping of the cortex. Cortex is the core of your hair strand that leads to split end. So you need to brush very softly and you need to start with the ends and then you can go up with the comb. Number two is chemical treatments like bleaching, color treatment, using heat tools like straighteners or curling irons or curling rods. So in order to get the color stick into the hair, so you need to lift up the protective layer outside of the hair. In that way, you are eliminating the protective layer of your hair that will cause damage and that leads to split ends. Blow drying is one of the most important reason for split end, because when you blow dry, you are just not using the heat, you are also whipping it around. So it will cause more damage and causing more split ends. Same happened with straightener and curling rods. Another point is terry towel drying. So when you are using a terry towel to dry your hair, it will cause more frizz, it will cause friction, it will damage your hair shaft and also it cause split ends. So you can use microfiber towel instead of a terry towel. Another most important point is using tight, fuller hairstyles. It can cause damage to your hair. Wearing the tight hairstyles also can snap the cortex of your hair and that can lead to damage and what leads to split ends. And the next point is using a lot of anti-dandruff shampoos. So anti-dandruff shampoos has some very strong ingredients, active ingredients like ketoconazole and also selenium sulfide. These active ingredients can cause a little damage to your hair wherever it's not that much talked about, but it is a real thing. That's why I always say when you are using an anti-dandruff shampoo, please focus on your scalp, not on your length, because it is needed on your scalp only and it is a very strong clarifying kind of shampoo. So avoid applying anti-dandruff shampoos on the hair length. It makes your hair more fragile. So please be aware and use it on your scalp only, not on the length. So let's move on to how to get rid of them and how to treat them so that you won't get split ends. The first thing you need to understand that you can't repair a split end. So if you have split ends, you need to trim it off. There will be no way that you can permanently cure split ends. So split ends can't be cured or repaired. So you need to get rid of them by trimming it or having a haircut. I will suggest you to get a trim rather than going for a haircut. Another question I usually get from you guys: does bond repair treatment help in repairing split ends or not? No dear, bond repair treatments can only fix a few things, like it can repair the damaged bond, but it can't repair the split ends what had already happened. It can just fortify your hair. So bond repair treatments won't help you in your split ends, but it can help you in repairing the damage, bond damage. So indirectly, it will help you to get rid of your damaged hair, but it will not repair split ends. If you have split end, then you have to chop it off, you have to trim it off. Nothing can repair split end. So the first point for how to prevent split ends is stop manipulating your hair a lot. If you use a lot of heat tools, if you use a lot of hairstyling products, if you do a lot of tight cooler hairstyles, it will cause damage that will lead to split ends. So be aware of it and use low heats, use heat protectant, and also use lower loose braids or buns or hairstyles that won't cause any damage to your hair. Number 2 is minimize the friction. So switch to satin pillowcases, satin bonnets and satin scrunchies. That will lead to less breakage, less freeze and also less split ends. So why not cotton? Because cotton can soak up all the moisture from your hair and it can cause freeze, it can cause breakage and that will lead to split ends. So you need to switch to a cloth or a material what is very friendly with your hair, what will not take away all the moisture from your hair. That is satin or silk. So both switch to silk pillowcases or satin pillowcases and bonnets and other scrunchies. So if you need recommendations, look into my description box. I will share some links with you. Third point is a good detangler. So if you have curly hair and you think that oiling won't help in your detangling process, then switch to a very good hair mask or a very hydrating conditioner which has a good sleep. A good sleep is very, very important to detangling your hair. So you can start applying the hair mask and or the conditioner before shampooing. After that, you can start with your ends of your hair, start detangling from hair and then easily go up and detangle all your hair very easily. So you can do that. Or if you think that wet detangling won't work for you, then you can just oil your hair and then start detangling. In this way, your detangling process will, the time will get reduced, the process will be much more easier, breakage will be less and the pain also be less. The fourth point is use a microfiber towel instead of a terry towel because terry towel create a lot of friction to your hair, leads to hair breakage and that will lead to split ends. So microfiber towel is very friendly with your hair. It's very soft and it can take the excessive water from your hair, but it won't damage or it won't cause a lot of dryness on your hair. So please switch to a microfiber towel. If you need a link, please go to my description box. You will find some links. And the fifth point is non-manipulative hairstyles. Like you can use big claw clips if you have a very heavy or very long hair, then you can use this and don't put very tightly. Just normally you can fold it up and use that claw clip to secure your hair. And also you can use non-manipulative hairstyles like loose braids, loose buns, lower bun. A high ponytail or high bun can cause a very tension on your root area, which will cause in damaged hair. So please be aware of it and do not do any manipulative hairstyles. Sixth point is no to aggressive shampooing. If you use a lot of shampoo on your hair and scalp, it's going to dry your hair and dryness and brittleness mean split ends. So use a very less amount of shampoo. And the seventh and most important point is don't skip a conditioner. Never ever skip a conditioner whenever you wash your hair. Even if you are not using a shampoo, go with a conditioner. Just apply on your hair length and after 4 to 5 minutes, you just need to wash it off and that's it. So conditioner is a must. If you have a very frizzy hair, very rough hair, very dull hair, then switch to a hair mask. You can use that hair mask in two purposes, like a conditioner. You can use it on your every wash day and you can use it as a deep conditioner. Also, there comes the eighth point, that is a deep conditioning. Deep conditioning weekly once is a very important point to avoid split ends, avoid breakage. Deep conditioning is kind of a, you can say, hair food for you. So you can use a deep conditioner or a hair mask once a week or once in 15 days to make your hair very luscious, very beautiful, very hydrated and damage free. And the ninth point is hair oil. Hair oiling before shampoo can help you to avoid the drying part after the shampoo. So when you shampoo a lot, that will lead to a very dryness. Then we will use the conditioner to get moisturized. But why not you are protecting your hair at first by hair oiling before shampoo. I always say before 30 minutes of shampooing, use a very good moisturizing, hydrating hair oil. And after 30 minutes, you can use a shampoo, rinse it off, and then you can go with the conditioner. So there is a pro tip which I do to avoid split ends and you should do also. That is, take a very lightweight oil, take 3 to 4 drops of it or 5 drops of it on your palm and only apply on your hair ends at night. Every night you should do it to avoid split ends. It will make your hair ends very moisturized and it will keep your hair moisturized until the next morning as well. And also you can refresh with a lightweight oil as well to make your hair moisturized, to keep your hair moisturized and hydrated for a longer time. And the 10th and for me it's the most important point, if you have curly wavy hair, then please do not skip leave-ins and gels. It helps my hair to grow more longer and to avoid split ends. Leave-in and gels are very, very important and it makes our hair very moisturized and hydrated. That won't lead to hair breakage and that will help in preventing split ends. So please do apply leave-ins and gels every wash day. Do not skip it if you need frizz-free and split ends-free hair. This causes less tangle because it's coated with leave-in and gel, so it keeps the hair very moisturized and hydrated. So if I do this, it won't get tangled. You can easily remove it because it is very moisturized and coated with leave-ins, which do not allow it to get tangled. So please apply leave-ins and gels if you have curly wavy hair. It will help you in every way. And the 11th point is sun protection. Yes, sun protection for hair is very, very important. Though in India we don't talk about it much, but it is very important. So for sun protection, you can use protective hairstyles like bun, braid, or you can use also satin scarf to prevent it from getting damaged from sun. And so these are the some ways you can prevent split ends. And please comment down your queries or anything if you like this video. It will help me a lot. If you really like my content, please subscribe to my channel. Please like and comment. Whoever is coming from my Instagram handle, please do comment, guys. You are the supporters of mine. Please support me in YouTube also. And Nykaa sale is coming. I'll be coming up with some Nykaa hauls in this week as well. So please do comment what recommendations you want. I will include it in my videos as well. Thanks for watching. I'll meet you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.